Okay, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalam ala Sayyidil Anbiya'i wal Mursaleen. Allahumma allimna ma yanfa'una wanfa'na bima tu'allimuna wazidna bifadlik ilman wa ta'liman innaka ala kulli shay'in qadir. So welcome one and all to this journey of learning Arabic, inshallah ta'ala. This is our first of, inshallah, 40 classes. So 40 exact weeks, inshallah. Perhaps we'll have breaks for, holidays, etc. here and there and things. But inshallah ta'ala, we have a book that is 40 units, inshallah, 40 weeks. So I want to start off, I wanted to start off with just introducing who I am and my relationship with the book, and inshallah trying to help you understand your relationship with the book, inshallah. So we were talking just now about languages, so I'm from a kind of a multinational family. My mum's Swiss and my dad's English. So I grew up in England. My parents are converts. I grew up in England, and I always liked languages. So my mother's mother tongue is Italian, and when I was about 3 or 4, there was a book, Call of the Wild. Maybe some of you are familiar with it. Jack London. It's a book kids do. It's an interesting book, and I was copying it out in Italian. So I really like languages. Then I got into French. I was really, really into French, right? Whenever I tell somebody I'm into French, they start talking to me in French, and I can't do it. But I like languages a lot. So I was really into languages, and I was like really wanted to do French, and I did a bit of Spanish, I did a bit of Italian, and I was doing a bit of Latin and all different kind of things. And then I was on my 16th birthday. My brother's like, Farid, you like languages so much. How about Arabic? Given that you're a Muslim and we're Muslim, we should do this thing. So for my 16th birthday, I received this book, right? So that's approximately 21 years ago, right? We're 37 this year. So inshallah, on the 5th of September, you can all give me a big birthday cake and say, Mubarak, and you can have a birthday cake in the shape of the book, inshallah, right? So on my 16th birthday, I had this book. And this book was a huge opening for me, because basically I did it by myself. So there's a key thing to understand. You can't do the deen by yourself, right? Somebody who does the deen by themselves, they just do their own Google version of the deen, and then they memorize the Quran by themselves, and they study hadith by themselves, they study fiqh by themselves. They become a shaitan in reality, because they have no sanad, they have no connection to the Prophet. You have to study with talaqqi, you have to study with shuyukh. But that's not the case with Arabic, right? So some of you, for example, you learn English by yourselves, you studied certain things by yourself, you taught yourself coding. Do you have people did coding here? Did anybody teach yourself coding? Or did you sort of do it at school? Many people, they'll do that on the side. You teach yourself coding. Is that halal? It's halal, right? You can teach yourself whatever you want. And so Arabic language is like that. And this book is like that. It's like you can do it by yourself, right? It's something that's within grasp. It's something that's very doable. So I was 16. I did this book basically by myself. And then it was a huge opening, because suddenly I can understand Quran, right? And that's something that's unbelievably important, right? Unbelievably important, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent Rasulullah, which is the messenger of Allah. He sent you a message. What is the point of a message if you cannot understand it, right? It makes very little sense, right? If somebody sent you a message and you never tried, they said, I sent you a message in Chinese, right? All it says is big bank. Like, obviously you're going to try and find out what it means, because like some huge bank in China is sending me a message. I want to know what's going on. But if you never ever bothered to find out what it meant, it's a bit strange, right? What if your wife sent you a message, right? And you said, oh yeah, there's like, I couldn't read it. It's like, well, did you try and read it? I'm like, no. Well, that's a bit strange. Like, I sent you a message. I haven't seen you for 2 years. I sent you a message. It said help, important, and then the rest of it was in Russian, and you didn't even bother translating. That's a bit strange. Like, subhanAllah, like you really don't care. And so when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends us a message, it's very important for us to interact with that as much as possible, right? And is it possible for all of us to become top-notch mufassirs, that we can do tafsir of the Quran and write a 20-volume book on the tafsir? Not necessarily. Is it possible for all of us to become fuqaha, that we can explain the details of halal and haram in the Quran? It's not super possible, but it is very possible, right? It is very possible for us in this group right now, in 40 weeks, to pick up the Mus'haf and like, yeah, I understand a lot of what is going on. We're talking about 60, 70, 80, 90, 95% of what's going on, right? It's something that's very doable. It's within reach, right? It's something that's doable. So this is the book. It's called Access to Quranic Arabic, and it's exactly what it says on the book. it is opening the door to Quranic Arabic. It is not wasting your time. For example, I need to know a joke in Egyptian Arabic, or I need to be able to listen. It is called access to Quran Arabic. Accessing the Arabic used in the Quran as soon as humanly possible. All of the examples are from the Quran. The grammar is all in the Quran. The phrases are all in the Quran. And it even has some tafsir points you'll explain on the side. And the scholar, mashallah, the author of the book is a scholar. And he has very beautiful books. He has a very, very nice book that's kind of shaped, well, I helped me a lot as a teenager. A book on the Sahaba. He has 2 books on the Sahaba. Very, very nice. And some other books as well. And so the book is exactly this, is like our journey to accessing this message, right? From Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, with that general introduction, so then that's my life. I was 16, I did this book, and then I was reading the Quran, and it was very useful for me. At the age of 19, I started teaching Arabic. So I moved to Jordan at the age of 19, and I was teaching Arabic online. And that's what I've been doing for the last, whatever, how many years? 18 years or something. 37 minus 19 as well. 18, there we go. I don't know. I know Arabic, don't know math. Okay, alhamdulillah. But, and the other thing about Arabic is a very, very beautiful thing is we all have, do we have people here, computer people? How many people here are computer people? Pretty much everybody. So that's the beautiful thing about Arabic, right? So I was teaching Arabic to somebody. Again, brother, where are you from again? Yeah, so I think there's a brother from that area. He's in Birmingham. So I was teaching with him, and he's a programmer guy. So I gave him 50 verbs to conjugate, to break, and analyze. And being a computer person, he cannot do boring material. Like if you have something that can be systematized, they're going to systematize it. So he wrote a code in Excel to conjugate those verbs, right? And that's what you find with Arabic. It's very gratifying for somebody who likes systems. So I like math. I like systems. I've never done computer programming, but I probably like it, right? It's very, very systematic, okay? And so somebody who looks at languages and works with languages, it's like, when you look at it, it's like, mashallah, it's very systematic. All you need to know is about 3 or 4 or 5 tables. You know this table, that's it. That's the whole of Arabic, right? And you just apply the system again, again, again. And so it's a very, very nice mathematical C++, kind of way. Like, this makes sense to you. Like, that would make so much sense. You put this in here and it comes out here, right? It's a very nice language, as opposed to English, which is totally chaotic, right? I teach and I taught. What's the relationship between those 2 words? That doesn't make sense. Like, that's not a system, right? I were, right? It's a bit weird. Whereas Arabic is very, very systematic, and it's very learnable, right? And so we'll see right at the end of the book, we'll do something called the 10 forms, where you can get everything you learn and then just put it into the system, and then, wow, suddenly you know so much in a very systematic and a very easy way in a very short time. So after that, I went to Jordan. I was teaching Arabic, and then I also studied Arabic at university as an Arab. So I was at university and I was studying with other Arabs in an undergrad studying Arabic, and I studied with different shuyukh, studied hadith, fiqh, etc. And one of the biggest things that helps me is Arabic. It's this unbelievably useful thing. Right? Imam al-Shatibi, who's one of the great fuqaha of the ummah, he said, whoever knows more Arabic than you is a greater faqih than you. Right? And so it's unbelievably useful. Understanding Arabic, cracking Arabic. Half of the discussions in fiqh are to do with Arabic. Right? So understanding Arabic at a very deep level helps us understand the deen in a deep way. And the opposite is the case. The less we understand Arabic, the less we understand the deen. The less we can understand why is there a debate on this issue. Why do some people say it's halal, some people say it's haram? It's because we don't know Arabic. Right? And so it's a very, very useful thing. And may Allah, use it today, inshallah ta'ala, today and moving forward, and opening for all of you. So with that, inshallah ta'ala, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, innamal a'malu binniyat. Actions are only by intentions. So we're here, right? As I was leaving, my wife was saying, I got this message from my friend, and then I was like, wait, we're driving now, let's make an intention. Like, why are we driving from Brentwood? Why are we doing this, right? Because whatever you do is only worth something based on what was your intention, right? The word in Arabic, niyya, which is your intention, is from the word nawa, which is a seed. So what brought you here? What was the seed that you were planting when you came here? So if we can perhaps just go around the room, inshallah, and everybody can share their niyyah. Why are you here? What are you trying to do? Why did you, you saw this message, they advertised the course. Why did you want to come here? Right? Is Khalid there? Khalid, should I pass the microphone around or you have it there? Okay. One of these. What do you want to start? Yeah, I'll start. Let me first turn it off for you. Give me a second. Yeah. So just a disclaimer: you're going to be on YouTube and Meta, and all this data is being shared, right, and being tracked. Your voice is now being. Okay. Sorry.
Hello, my name is Wali. I'm like for me, I guess I was reading the English translation of the Quran recently, and doing some research online. I was seeing different English translations, and then I realized that I really thought about the fact that to get the real message and understand it at the deepest level, that I would have to know Arabic. So and that was only maybe a month or two ago, especially in Ramadan. It really was on my mind, and so all of a sudden, I was in that WhatsApp group and I saw that there was a class for learning Arabic, and I just showed up. That's why I'm here today. But that's really what it was. It was just seeing all the different translations for a little bit. I was like, man, which English translation, this, and that. And I was like, why not just learn the Arabic full through? So,
and just a point on that is sometimes you will find, one of my teachers, he spent about the last 17 years translating the Quran. So he was working with a specialist mufassir, tafsir scholar, going through and making sure that it's all correct. And he says one of the reasons why I'm translating the Quran is you actually find, even if there's like 500 translations of the Quran into English, sometimes you find all of them are wrong. Like literally, like all of them are wrong. And so it's very important is that you take ownership of this, right? We're not Catholics. Catholics go to church, priest says something, fantastic. Go and do these, get your prayer beads, do these Hail Marys and go home, right? We're Muslims. Our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is direct. It is not through a sheikh or through a priest or through a church. So Allah's talking to you and there's an Arabic word there. That is the gap between you and Allah, just the words. And so it's shocking sometimes you realize, hey, they translate like this. That's not right. That's not the translation. That's not what it says. At least that's not what it says to me. Right? And so it's very important to own your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you can only own your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if you have knowledge and if you have Arabic. Otherwise, Sheikh so-and-so said this, Sheikh so-and-so said that. It's like, great. He's defining your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is not good. You need to own that, have your own relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, Assalamu alaikum. Naufal here. So, basically every year during Taraweeh, I'll think, okay, I need to connect with Quran and learn more about the meaning. Then I could focus more in the during Taraweeh prayer, but couldn't spend much time every year. Means every Ramadan passes, same thing. I think this is the first time I think an in-person session. So I thought I would like to attend. Definitely should attend this session and learn from and understand more in terms of Quran.
Assalamu
alaikum, Fahri. So I came here because I think it's just really cool to understand something that you just a language that you recite every day in your prayer, to be able to understand it, because it's just weird if you recite it and you don't have no idea what you're saying, right? So I think it'll be really cool and pretty impressive that just understand the language, and being able to just understand it is just really, really cool.
Good. Jazakallah.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ahmed. I think there is a lot of commonality between what everybody is doing here. So just add on to what they've already said, I agree. And even I have the same. On top of that, whenever I listen to some of the lectures from of the shuyukh, when they talk in my native language, right, it's completely different way that I get absorbed into that. So I'm sure that when the language of the Quran, which is the language of the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so if I learn it, probably the way that it's going to impact me, it's going to be completely different. So it's an effort from my side. I don't know how successful it can be, but I just want to at least put an effort to get to the point that I can say that I have tried that.
And so Ahmed, right? Yeah. So just add to Ahmed's point that he just mentioned. He said, "I'm not sure how successful it'll be. Inshallah ta'ala, I mentioned before, it's very doable, right? So imagine somebody saying, hey, I want to learn Shakespeare. It's quite hard, right? Imagine if you met some Chinese dude and he was like, yeah, I want to learn English because I heard this is an amazing play called Romeo and Juliet. I want to read it in its like original English. That's quite hard because like the English is really old and there's so many words. But the Quran is quite easy to the number of words. If you just listed every single word in the Quran, how many words would I have to, like the exact number of words I would have to know to understand every single ayah? It's quite easy, relatively speaking, compared to, let's say, reading a novel in Malay or reading a novel in French, right? So it's something that's very doable. If you say these 40 lessons, like it's actually doable. It's not easy, but it's doable. Right?
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Fahad. The reason I'm here is during Ramadan we had Sheikh Abdul Karim, and his style would really hit me, like you know, especially on the verses where he would cry, and that would make me cry, but I wouldn't understand like most of what's he reading or what he's reciting. And during one of the many events that Brother Khalid has here, Imam Tahir was here, and he said something like a lot of words in Urdu are actually derived from Arabic. So if you know certain words in Urdu, it becomes really easy to circle back the same word to an Arabic to verses in Arabic. So that's why I was looking for something that would help me at least do that little connection, so I could understand at least a bit of Quran as it is read and as I listen and when I read it. And then suddenly, immediately after Ramadan, Brother Khalid opened up this session, and I immediately signed up for it. So yeah, my goal here is to as like everyone said here so far, is to, as I read, as I listen, as I hear from someone speaking Arabic, reading the Quran, I want to grasp most of it. And also just to add to Sheikh Abdul Karim, he would also do this long duas during Witr. It would really go on for like 10 to 15 minutes. And again, some of these would really hit me hard, especially when he would say something Arabic Palestine, something Arabic Gaza. So that's where I want to build that connection. Like if there's really like a dua that should come from my bottom of my heart, and if it's in Arabic, then I should understand it. So that's all my
So one thing to add to this is many people, they have a concept that the Quran tells you to do some good things and tells you not to do some bad things, right? And when I know Arabic, I guess I'll just read those things in Arabic. The Quran doesn't tell you that. The Quran, it shakes you to the core, right? It's scary. The Quran is quite scary. And it's like, oh my God, like I thought I was okay. And then you start reading the Quran, it's like, oh my God, does it actually say that? Right? And so, it's very important that someone's like crying. It's like, so someone says, for example, I'm a religious Muslim, I pray and I fast and I avoid the haram. And that's not a religious Muslim. Religious Muslim is somebody who, like, they cry, right? They're shaken, like they're moved, right? And that's what is supposed to happen, right? And so may Allah protect us and forgive us, and so may Allah reward you, inshallah, for your intentions.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Nasir. Pretty much what everyone spoke about, I think I have the same intentions as well. One thing I might probably want to add here is when we've been like a couple of like brothers are like doing our own way of like learning tafsir, like we all will sit together and then learn together tafsir. So we finished Baqarah with that, alhamdulillah. And then during my journey, I try to like connect to the words of the Quran, and then like when I listen to those Baqarah surah, ayah from like Imam, I would be able to understand the meaning that gave me like a good khushu to my salah, and it really hit me. So I think there is more to learn. I think certainly if I know Arabic better, I'll be able to connect better to the Quran. So that's why I'm here.
Assalamu alaikum. Myself, Habib Rahman. So, yeah, as Brother Nasir told, I'm also part of that tafsir group. On the other side, this is the book of Allah. I recite most of the days, at least a couple of pages. But I feel ashamed as a Muslim I don't know what I'm reciting. And even a few years back, I had tried, along with one of my friend, we had tried learning the Arabic under one person who knows Arabic. But because of my own bad commitment, I couldn't go ahead. And I see this as a big opportunity for me. And I see this as my last bus to understand Arabic and to understand what I'm reciting daily. Inshallah.
Jazakum khair. So Sheikh Imam Zaid Shakir was asked a question. He said, Sheikh, what's the best textbook to learn Arabic? Right? What was his answer? He said, the one you actually finish. So it's very, very important. Life is full of opportunities, but do we follow through, right? So you know, someone, you made it here today. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. Are you going to be here next week? Yeah, inshallah. And then next week, and then next week. But the key thing is, you have to have that the muhasabah, that I made a promise to myself that I'm going to be here till the end. There's this book. If Shaykh Farid dies, I'm going to study it with somebody else. If he dies, I'll study it with somebody else. If I have to move to Venezuela, I'll take my book with me, we'll do it. And if I'm 71, we'll still do it. You know, I remember teaching Arabic to this lady. She was a Hindu convert. And I don't know how old she was, like 70 or something like that. Like how on earth she got to the class of doing Arabic. It was like she had this long, mission. Another brother, he's been doing Arabic for about 25 years, on and off. It's like, so this is I think it's like, the dedication, I'm going to do this. So if we put in the regular effort, and that's why in this class, it's a 2-hour class. That means we're doing the textbook and the workbook, inshallah. We're finishing unit 1, if I stop talking. Finishing unit 1, but unit 1, today's textbook and workbook. But what was it? But all you need to do is be consistent, right? And consistency means that you have to cut back on other things, right? You tell your employee says, "Why weren't you here yesterday morning? You had a meeting at 9 o'clock. What's going on?" He says, "Oh, I was at the gym, and then before that, I was doing golf at midnight." Like, that's not mature, right? If you want to be here at 9 o'clock in the morning, you're gonna have to cut back on certain things. So sacrifice is necessary for commitment, because you can't just pile things on and on and on. So you're like, what is it that's not making this possible? Okay, I want to do Arabic. What is it they have to do? Okay, I have to talk to my family. Like, I really want to do this. What do we need to do in order for this to happen? It's like, when am I going to do the homework with the kids? When are you going to do the homework with the kids? Let's plan it and be very realistic, because otherwise nothing gets achieved if you're not very realistic. Which is I have to go back to the back table, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Sultan Mubarak Saeed. So a couple of brothers here.
Sorry, brother. Can I just intervene? Do you know what your name means?
Sultan.
Sultan Mubarak Sayyid.
Yeah.
Do you know what it means?
Sultan is king, Mubarak is greeting, and Sayyid is also king.
Mubarak means blessed. Blessed. And Sayyid means?
King.
King. So you're the king of all, like the ultimate king of barakah, right? So imagine if you didn't know your name, right? So alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So,
but Sultan originally means authority, right? So it means authority, Sultan. We see it many times in the Quran.
All right. So, so a couple of brothers started this journey in our masjid and the musalla. Like, one brother took a lead, his brothers, Umar Muhammad. Alhamdulillah, may Allah bless him. So he took the Nauman Ali Khan series, and he kind of learned and started teaching the fellow brothers. And I got a taste of it. Alhamdulillah, it was like such an enriching journey. Like, whatever you said about putting a template, structure, and I was not able to continue with that class because of some commitment with my daughter. So Alhamdulillah, then when this came up, I had nothing to think about it. And the main objective I want to get out of this class is like improve my concentration. If I take 5 years back, zero concentration, then I learned a bit, then I had 10%, 20% concentration. I want to keep improvise on that.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
My name is Shabir. One thing I realized, or I know, that my connection with Quran is very bad. So the only thing I connect with is during the Ramadan, I try to finish one time Quran completely. And that too, I feel that I've been pushing myself. I have to push myself to finish just one time. And most of the time when I read, I feel sleepy or I get distracted because I don't know what I'm reading. And this it's not supposed to be that way. It's the word of Allah. It's Allah is talking to us, and this is not how it should be. And I realized that I have to do something to be more connected with Quran, and that way I am connected with Allah and get the love of Allah in my heart. That's
MashaAllah, jazakum khair. Just an example of that, I want to give an example about like connection, what it should be is, one of the funny things, which surahs do we usually teach the kids? Which surahs do we do? Short surahs, which juz? Which para? 30th, right? If we put those in English, you would have complaints from the parents because those surahs are extremely painful and difficult. Like, it's not 5-year-old material, but it's only digestible to us. It's only kid friendly because we don't know what it says. But if we understood what it says, it's very scary. Like Al-Qari'ah, for example, is a very scary surah, right? It's a very surah. Qari'ah means like the smashing thing, right? So would you have a poem for a 5-year-old? Oh, the day that our city got bombed to pieces and I remember all the shrapnel. Like, you would never give that to a kid. But that's what the whole of Juz Amma is about. Is like Yawm al-Qiyamah, the destruction, the this, all these different words for how catastrophic it is, right? And so this is what we want to have, is that we should be, again, we should be the person who is reciting Surah Al-Qari'ah, but we can't finish the surah because it's too much. Right? There was one Sahabi, he said, Ya Rasulullah, I've had 3 days of diarrhea because of Surah Al-Qari'ah. Like, that's how disturbed I am, right? And that's a healthy disturbance. It's like, how now am I thinking about how I speak to people, how I interact with people, how I do things? I'm shocked to the core. This is how the Sahaba were. Were they all Hafaz? No. Were they all Fuqaha? No. Were they all, could they all explain every single verse? Did they all? No. But when they heard the Quran, it shook them to the core. Right? When they said Allahu Akbar, that's what it meant, as opposed to something we say. Right? May Allah forgive us and protect us. So Jazakum khair. Go ahead, brother.
Assalamu alaikum. So similar to what everybody else is saying, I also wanted to kind of like understand the Quran when I'm following in Taraweeh, means I want to understand, etc. So I had come across, and I also had like looked at it before, and I understood that it's actually not that hard to learn. So I have gone through this YouTube videos, the Arabic 101 channel. They have this 50% of the Quran, you learn a set of words, 65%, then 85%, etc. So, but then the problem is that you can go through it, but you'll forget it very quickly. I try to like go through some practices with such words. Then I found another app called Quranic, which also goes through short passages or like stories, and then take some verses from the Quran and like you go through some words. So I'm kind of halfway in that. And they also have like an online course. I was planning to kind of like take that. And that's when this course showed up and person one. So I decided to take it up. So currently I have like gone through something like 500 words, but not Sarf yet. Sarf I have a little bit of understanding, but not comfortable with it yet.
Okay, so just the thing is that the brother's mentioning 500 words. 500 words is approximately how far through? It's approximately 1/4.
Yeah.
Right. So if you said 1,000 or less is those words that come up very, very frequently, and perhaps 2,000 words in total. Right. That's not very much. That's like any language. Right. There was a brother, he was studying, Malaysian brother. He's studying medicine in England, and he failed his second year. So what did he do? In one summer, he learnt some European language because he had to complete his degree in that kind of country. Like, it's not that difficult. Right? I think in here, I get the sense that put your hand up if you identify yourself as not very intelligent. You're not very intelligent people? Really? You sound very intelligent people. Right? I get the sense here that people are generally very intelligent here. Okay? You can speak English very well. You can probably speak, most people can speak here 3 languages. Right? Speaking about 3 languages. So that means you're quite intelligent. So wouldn't it be a shame that something that's doable, that somebody with an average intelligence can do, but somebody who is intelligent, who works for big companies and can do intelligent things, could not achieve that? Right? It's a shame that we always have that some people I've seen, for example, they're very difficult. They find language extremely difficult. right? They don't speak more than one language. They find it very, very hard. How could you have a different phrase for something? How could you speak in another way? Because they don't have that in their head at all. They find it very difficult to memorize anything and any systems they can't do. But somebody who does computer things, somebody who speaks more than one language, somebody who's learned things and achieved things, like you can definitely, this is very much within your grasp. So then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask you, hey, I made Arabic doable, and I set up and I invited you after Ramadan to come to this class. It's something that we should be scared of. That Allah invited you. I'm not talking about halal and haram. There's many things I'm not talking about halal and haram. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, hey, let's put hellfire to the side now. Right? MashaAllah, you made it. We're not going to send you hellfire. Alhamdulillah. But Allah's like, hey, I gave you A, B, and C, and you had this ability and that ability and all these kind of things. Why didn't you do this? And why didn't you do it properly? Given that, here's a brother who's already 1/4 of the way there. Right? We're going to oversee the chapter today. Today's first chapter, that's 1/40th. 22.5% is not that difficult. The words in there that we need to finish and etc. Structure is not that difficult. Bismillah. Go ahead, brother.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Shaiju Salam. So I think most of the reasons are already covered. But one of the main reason I prefer to join this class is because I tried this thing multiple times previously, learning Quranic grammar and words, but somehow I was not able to continue that thing. So many reasons are there, but now it reaches a time like maybe last couple of years I realized that time is getting over and it's very difficult to catch up if I don't start something now. So I was thinking of, because I know from my nature, I won't do much digging by myself and go with that. I may be stopping it in between. So I need someone to, means something like responsibility has to be there, and I feel like this is one of a stage where I can.
Okay, so there's two things here I just want to add to. Assalamu alaikum, brother. Two things I want to add to this brother's point is, number one, he mentioned that accountability, right? So it's very, very important. If you want to achieve anything, you have accountability and you have sohbah, somebody else doing the same thing, it makes it much, much easier. It's very, very hard to do exercise, lose weight, whatever it is when you don't have a buddy. Number A, and that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Al-Asr, إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. That there's a teamwork. I don't have the strength by myself to do what is right. That's why I need to team up. I don't have the patience to do things by myself. That's why I team up with other good people. Right? A very important concept. The other thing is he mentioned his age, right? He said in the past, right? Put your hand up if you're over 40. Right? So this is one of these pains. You look at your life like, subhanAllah, I am somebody who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given lots of opportunity to do things, but I'm over 40 and this is where I am. And it's like, it hurts. Like you look at your life like, subhanAllah. You know? So I look at my own life like I could have done so many things, right? Even if you've achieved a lot, what could you have achieved? Right? You said, oh yeah, I learned English and I did this and I did this. Well, you could have learned Russian and Chinese at the same time. You could have done, I have this thing. You could have done a million other things, right? All of us could be all huffaz. All of us could all be, could have done all of this Arabic in 2 weeks, 20 years ago. You spent 2 weeks, you sat down and just did 2 weeks study. You could do the whole book 20 years ago. And we wouldn't even be here, right? So there's lots of things with that pain of regret, like subhanAllah, it actually hurts. It's a useful hurt. Like it hurts me that I haven't done this yet. And I sit with that pain. Like, I don't like that. I don't like the fact that my prayer isn't that good. I don't like the fact that like this time I'm going to do it, right? That's called a regret that is positive, as opposed to, oh, I'm a really bad person. No. Like, I regret doing that. This time I'm going to do it, right? That azam, that resolve, like I'm going to do it this time. But just okay, brother, appreciate it.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Khalid. Yeah, like all brothers said, like my niya is like to understand Arabic, especially when namaz or tarawih or any verse read from Quran to be understand first, instead of looking the equivalent translation in English or Urdu or anything. But that's the primary intention. And I don't know Quran. I have not tried. Last year only I started reading with the help of my wife. I completed Surah Baqarah, but I cannot read it like a fluently, but I can read by word. And the second thing is like I just installed the app like literally 2 weeks back, and I got a message from Khalid Bhai like going to start this. So I stopped that. I want to have like interactive session. That's another point. Only I have a question for you, Sadi, is like if you put me in some other state with the when we talk with each other and understand them very fast, and we can learn it. But doing this weekly session, if how does it make us to learn faster to understand Arabic? Point number one.
So could you repeat that question?
Yeah, the question I'm asking here is like, if we have this, if we don't have like we here today, like if we don't talk with each other with Arabic, right? Does it make like learn Arabic faster?
Yeah. So basically, in Germany, when they say about language learning, there's usually 4 skills. Okay. So I remember, for example, I did French for a long time, and in high school, I was in like 4 hours of French classes and like 8 hours of homework. And so by the end, I was like, I can totally listen to French and watch the news. Like just put me on the news and I can just understand it because my ear has to acclimatize for it, right? There's listening, right? And then there's speaking where, somebody would just ask you, wake you up in the morning and just say it, right? Like, oh, what are you doing? Like you didn't have to think, oh, how do you say, what are you doing in that language? It just comes out, right? And so, there's certain things in Arabic that I learned being in Jordan and being in that immersion where I'd say something, but I never even actively learned it because it's just through immersion, right? So there's speaking, listening, then reading and writing, right? And so we are only focusing on one skill, which is reading. And so if you are doing that on a regular basis, so every day you pick up the Quran and say, okay, I'm just going to do 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is going to take. And you're doing that every single day, and it's active. Like, what does that word mean? Why is there Dhamma there? Why is there Kasra? And you have all these questions that are kind of like on your mind, right? That will keep it going.
Okay.
And you don't need to be able to speak, right? And so many people, they're very good at Arabic, and they've never spoken Arabic in their lives because that's just not what they do. Right? And so you don't need to speak or listen in order to do that. All you need to is you're focusing on that particular skill, which is reading. And they're saying they used to do that in Europe in Latin. Nobody speaks Latin, right? Nobody speaks Latin. But everybody would just read Latin or read Greek, and they could do it. And then maybe they'd write it as well. But being able to read it, it's like that's a normal thing to do. Like just read something in Latin easily. Okay. So as long as you have the Quran on a regular basis, the Quran will teach you. Okay. And the Quran will bring up things as long as you're questioning, as opposed to you're not interested. But if you're questioning, what's going on here? Why? The book says this, but this has something else. What's going on? Right? Why? And you keep asking questions why, then it will make sense. And it will continue to remind you of the terminology and remind you of those words.
Yes. Okay. Jazakallah.
Perfect. Yeah, brother.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
My name is Samiullah, and I'm here to further knowledge of understanding the Quran, basically. And Jazakallah
Where are you
khair.
from, brother?
Originally?
Yes.
Afghanistan.
Afghanistan. Mashallah. Alhamdulillah. One more. So there's one thing I'm upset that I haven't heard. So inshallah, this brother, inshallah, he looks like he has 3 kids by now. How many kids you have?
0.
0 kids. That's okay. Alhamdulillah. MashaAllah. So but there's one thing I want to hear about kids, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Habib. Huh?
Your name is Habib?
Yeah, and
MashaAllah.
I'm here because I want to learn Arabic and get a better understanding of the Quran and to know what I recite when I'm praying. So
Okay, mashallah. So what shall we say about kids then? Why should we as fathers, and as husbands, why should we know Arabic? Right? So it's a great shame. I'm embarrassed, right? I feel embarrassed when somebody else is teaching my kids, right? So you can't teach your kids everything, right? But somebody who's like, okay, what did you study? I studied this. Like most people can sit down and say, okay, I can help my kid understand animal cells versus plant cells. Okay, this is cell biology. Like I can explain that to you. I can explain basically, a periodic table. I can explain maybe how a battery works, ions and cations and that kind of stuff. I can help them understand things. Like why can't I teach my kids basic Arabic? Now, that means I'm not really doing my job, right? I'm not doing this qiwama. Qiwama is like I am, right? men, we love this thing like, man, Allah Akbar, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put men first before the women, right? We're in charge. Like, we're in charge, then lead then. Go ahead. Like, do Arabic, do the deen, right? And so our job for our kids and our wives is like, okay, then show me the deen, teach me the deen, right? Teach me Arabic, some basic stuff, teach me these things, right? Many of the ulama, their first teacher was their dad. Their first teacher was their dad. And sometimes they're like, subhanAllah, I wasn't able to do that. Well, maybe with the grandchildren, right? Inshallah, as soon as I'm 65, I'm retiring and I'm gonna abduct my grandchildren. Like, tell my kids, guys, you're gonna work in the city, give me your grandchildren, I'll teach them Arabic, I'll teach them Quran, I'll teach them Seerah, I'll teach them fiqh, I'll teach everything. I messed up with you guys, inshallah, I'll do a good job with your grandchildren, right? So that's a very key thing, is like, I want to be able to teach my kids. Right? I want to be able to do that I have this ability, as opposed to like, daddy doesn't know. That's not good, right? Like, daddy doesn't know how to spell the. Like, what? Like, what's the difference between, daddy doesn't know how to spell, daddy doesn't know how to drive. Like, that's strange. Like, your kid has to learn from somebody else. Dad doesn't know how to change a light bulb. Like, that's odd. Like, you're a husband, change a light bulb. I don't know. That's not difficult. So Arabic is not something impossibly difficult. It's something that's doable. So we should be able to have that skill. Like, yeah, I can teach my kids that kind of stuff. And if I can't teach my kids, I at least teach my grandchildren. That I can do this, and we'll do that. It's a very important thing, inshallah. So we've spoken for a long time, and inshallah we will continue. And another a useful thing about Arabic, just useful thing. Who's seen this word before? Ustadh. You seen this word before? Yeah. There's a lot of people in California that speak a certain language. What language is that? Okay, but more than that. Spanish. Who's done some Spanish? Anybody know any Spanish? No? So this word, okay, is a very interesting word. Right? They use it in Spanish, right? So you cannot speak Spanish without speaking Arabic. Because Spain was a Muslim country for 800 years. So they're going to be speaking Spanish, and it's like, subhanAllah, they have all these key words. And so here's this Spanish person, okay, that you're talking to, and you're like, you speak Arabic? Yeah. And they're like, subhanAllah, I didn't know. And so they say in English, there's about 500 words, common words that we use that are what's it called in Arabic, like the word silk, right? The word like carrot gold, right? Qirat or silk. Silk in Arabic means a thread, right? So that's why we call it silk, right? When you buy a silk, etc. In Spanish, it's not 500 words, there's 5,000 words. So you cannot speak Spanish without speaking Arabic. And so this is a very important thing, is that we are in California. Part of our da'wah is like, hey, you look like an Arab and you speak like an Arab. That's because you're Muslim, right? That's because you're Muslim. So it's a very important thing to note that this is, this word. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to go to Unit 1. And so inshallah ta'ala, we are working on getting the textbooks and workbooks, inshallah, and inshallah, but you can talk to Brother Khalid about that, inshallah ta'ala. But we have printouts here, inshallah ta'ala, of Unit 1 of the workbook and Unit 1 of the textbook and of the workbook. Okay, so it starts off and it's super simple, and it's going to give you three concepts and 15, 20 words. Okay, so the first concept in Arabic is that words have gender. Okay, so again, if you do Spanish, you're going to see, right, every single word is either masculine or feminine. Right, every single word is either masculine or feminine. Right, la comida, food, right? You say la. It's food in Spanish is considered feminine. What, it's a female? Is food a female? Food is not a female, but it's considered feminine, right? People speak Urdu, the same thing. Every single word is either masculine or feminine. You don't realize it. But if you said, for example, the big car or the big house, you'd be like, oh, we say big in a different way. Okay, that's called gender, right? And so in English, we don't really have that, right? If you say the word tall, like tall doesn't have a gender, or table doesn't have a gender, right? And if you ask people in California, we don't have genders either, right? It's all right, social construct, right? That's something else. But originally in English, we used to have 3 genders in English, right? And that's why in German, for example, you have 3 genders, because it's a Germanic language. But in Arabic, you have two genders, okay? Now, the nice thing, again, if you do Spanish, if you do some other language, it's really annoying because you have to memorize it. Every single word, right? You have to memorize this, right? This this for flower, okay, that's going to be masculine. This is going to be feminine. This is masculine. This is feminine. It's super annoying. So when you're learning Spanish, they just know it. They just know it's la, and that's just how it is. And like, is it o or is it a at the end? They just know it. Whereas in Arabic, it's very easy because the default is that all words are masculine. Okay? Proper misogynist, right? Default is everything's masculine. So you're trying to find out, how do I know if this is a word masculine or feminine? The default of every single word in Arabic is that it's masculine. Okay? And then unit 2 will go into what is feminine, but right now it says every single word, doesn't matter what it is, be it a human, be it an animal, be it an object, be it a concept, every single thing is either going to be masculine or feminine. And that's going to change its ending. Okay? It's going to have a certain different ending. We don't need to know the endings right now, but just concept, every single word is either masculine or feminine. That's how it is, number 1. And so it gives examples. You see here it says masculine nouns. It says 3 nouns below are all masculine. Okay, they're all considered in the category of masculine. We have an actual male, like rajul. Okay, rajul. And rajul means a man. So surprise, surprise, rajul is masculine. Right? That's kind of obvious. Right? But that's actually a male and it's considered masculine. But for example, the word kitab. Kitab is not a male, but it's considered in the category of masculine. Okay, that we put down the category. And that's something that's tangible, you can touch it. And then he mentions the word amr, which is a command or a matter, right? And that's also considered masculine. So how do I know a word is masculine? That's the default. If you're not sure, the default is masculine. Okay? That's number 1. Number 2, in Arabic, there is no word a or an. It doesn't exist. So you don't say, I am a Muslim. You just say, I, Muslim. So there's no word for a, and there's no word for are, or is, or am. So in English, we're going to say, for example, this is a phone. In Arabic, you're going to say, this phone. That's how you're going to speak. Right? And so, so the default of a word is indefinite, meaning it's a. But if you just left the word by itself, it means a. Right? How do you say it in Farsi? How do you say this is a book? Okay, if I take the word yak out, in kitabas, you don't have to say a book. In English, you can't say this book is. That doesn't make any sense. This is book. That doesn't make any sense in English. So if you want to say one, you could say yak, right? It's one, right? If you took it out, it already means, when you said kitab, it meant a book. It's just like that in Farsi, right? Is the same thing in Urdu? Do you have to say this is a book? Or can you just say this is book? Yeah. So the same thing in Arabic, exactly the same. So English people are confused, nobody else, right? So by default, you're already saying a. If you want to say the, we're going to learn that later, I'm going to say, who knows how to say the in Arabic? Al. We're going to see that later on, so that's not the default anymore. If you want to say the book, as in a specific book, you say al, but by default, you're already saying a or an is already there. So it's called, he says this is called the indefinite article, the word a, right? But the point is, that's already there. So a word is what by default? Masculine. The word a or an is just already there, it's already understood, okay? And the word is or am or are is also understood. So you say, they Muslims, meaning they are some Muslims, right? She, teacher, meaning she is a teacher. The word is not used, and the word a is not used, okay? So that's those first 2 concepts. Is that difficult? Pretty easy so far, right? So again, is this doable? This is doable, very doable, okay? Okay, if you just... There we go. Did I go this? Pronouns. Just want to jumped a little bit down, did it? Okay, that's fine. Okay, so it says the next things are pronouns. So put in your head, delete the word pronoun. I don't care about the word pronoun. It's not a grammar class. Okay, so I just want you to understand the concept. Don't worry about the word. Okay? We have words like he, she, they, and it. Okay? These pronouns, they are either masculine or feminine. So why is this super important? Super important. You're in California, everyone's talking about gender, You're like, why is God masculine? Why is God a male? Because it says he is Allah. So yeah, well, hang on a minute. In Arabic, there's no word for he and she. Because the word for he and she is the same word as for it. So am I saying it is Allah or am I saying he is Allah? It's the same thing in Arabic. So in English, that's confusing, right? You males, you male chauvinists, you misogynistic people, you've taken God and you've made him on your side. Okay, so women don't have a God and you have a God? Like God's a male, right? And in the Bible, that's what it's like. As a Christian, it's like God is kind of a male. Jesus is God and God's male. So therefore, like males are divine and women are like what? Something else. Okay? Whereas in Islam, we don't have that problem because we're speaking Arabic. We're not saying hu Allah, he is Allah. We're saying he/it is Allah. Right? It's not the same thing. So the first thing to note then is in Arabic, I'm not interested in he, she, and it. I'm interested in, is it masculine or feminine? So grammatically, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not feminine. Therefore he's masculine. Okay? But I'm not saying he and I'm not saying it. I'm saying something that means both. Again, in Farsi, is there a difference between he and it? If I say it is a book, how do I say that? There's no it? Okay, how would I say it then? You say this? Okay, in Urdu, how would I say that? It is a book. Yeah, meaning this. Okay, how can I say? So I don't want to say this. I just want to say it. Whoa, thank you. Well, kutab hai, right? It is a book. Okay, what's the difference between he is a book and it is a book? You're saying, mashallah, that sheikh, he's a human book. Same, right? There's no difference between he and it. Okay? And so, if it was so in Arabic, all we're interested in is it feminine or is it masculine? Not is it a female or is it a non-female or anything else. So in Arabic, I'm going to say he is a book for anything that's masculine, or she is a tree, for example, or she is a female for anything that's feminine, irrespective of whether it's human or not human. That doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm going to have two words. There's no it. And he is going to mean he or it, masculine, and she is going to be she or it, feminine. Okay, so we're not looking at the word she today. We're just looking at the word huwa. Huwa means he or it, just like Urdu, just like Farsi, just like, I don't know, other languages. So again, English, we're confused again. We confuse the whole world. The problem is white people, right? Get rid of them, everything's fine. Okay, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. Okay, so it gives the examples, it gives sentences here. It says, huwa rajulun, right? So in English, where is it? Huwa rajulun. That's 4 words in English. He is a man. In Arabic, what are you saying? He is implied, a is implied, and then rajulun means man. Easy. I can't see the second word down, but whatever it is. The third one is huwa amrun. It is a command or it is a matter. Okay? We are saying huwa means it or he. Is implied. A is implied, and then command is there. Okay? And so the word is implied, is dropped, etc. Now, you will see the word, we will use the verb to be in the past. You say, for example, kana, it was, or say yakunu, but you don't use the verb to be in the present. You don't say I am. That doesn't exist. I am, right? So it doesn't exist at all. So that's the word huwa. So what does huwa mean, guys? He or it. If it is masculine, okay? But otherwise, if it's going to be feminine, I'm going to have to say she, okay? So I would say she is a tree. That's how you speak in Arabic. She is a tree. She is a car, right? And we'll also see, so just because a car is considered feminine and a tree is considered feminine, okay? So now I have the word huwa, and then we have the word hadha, which means this, okay? Hadha, which means this. So we say, and so hadha as well is going to change for, so in Farsi, do we have 2 ways of saying this? Like, this is a man, this is a woman, is it the same word? This is the same. Yeah. This is the same. Okay, in Urdu, is it the same? I say, this is a woman. How do I say that? Okay. How do I say, this is a man? Same word? Exactly the same word? Okay. But in many languages, it's going to be very different. right? Because the gender is different. The word this will change from masculine and feminine. In Arabic, the same thing. We'll have hada, and the next unit we're going to see hadihi. Two different words for masculine and feminine. This is a car, hadihi sayara. This is a house, hada. We have two different words, okay? So that's different. So right now we have the word hada, which means this, and this is for meaning something masculine. And then we have dhalika, which is something which means that, right? And in reality, in English, in Arabic, we actually have three different ways of referring to things, or even more than that, right? And so in English, if you go up to the north of England, they will say lots of things you have no idea what they're saying. It's English, but you wouldn't understand them, right? They say things like, "Do you want out?" You're like, "What? What did you just say?" They say, "Would you like ought?" A-U-G-H-T, which means anything. That's English, but you wouldn't understand what they're talking about. So they use the word out as for anything. Similarly, they don't say this and that. They say yon. They say, "Oh, yon car's nice. That car is nice. Yon car," like the word yonder, right? So in Arabic, in reality, you have three ways of referring to something. You have hada, dhaka, and dhalika. This, that, and that thing over there. That thing over there. So it's actually three levels, okay? And so it's very important that the Quran frequently refers to things being very, very close, right? Hada, dhaka, and dhalika, right? So dhalika al-kitab is that thing right over there. So I'm reading the book, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, that thing far over there is the real book. So, well, it's a very strange way of speaking. It's not a normal way of speaking. It's a rhetorical way of speaking, right? But anyway, what we need to know right now is hada means this, dhalika means that thing over there, that. So I have huwa, which means he or it, hada, which means this, masculine, and dhalika, which means that thing. Right, great, fantastic. Okay, so now the next thing then is adjectives, when I'm going to describe something, okay? So in Arabic, we said we have two genders, correct? Masculine and feminine. Okay? So now, whenever I'm describing anything, I always have to remember that the gender has to be the same. Okay? So where's our Urdu speakers? Yeah? How do I say big house? Say it again? Okay, say big tree. Okay, was the word big the same? Same thing. Okay, say big river. See? See, the word big changed because in your mind, without thinking about it, without thinking this is a gender and that's another gender. Nobody ever asked you what gender, before you came to California, nobody asked you what gender a river was, okay? Or what pronoun you should use, right? Before you came to California, it was very simple. But you were naturally saying these certain things in Urdu. You had a gender, okay? You don't have that in Farsi, right? No? There's no such thing as gender in Farsi. That doesn't exist. Everything is the same, right? Whereas in most languages, you have these different genders, okay? So whenever I'm going to describe anything, just like Urdu, I need to say, hang on a minute, is this masculine or is this feminine? If it's masculine, I'm going to leave the word as it is. Kabir, Saghir, Azim. If it's feminine, I'm going to put a ta marbuta on the end. Azimah, Kabirah, whatever it is. So that's kind of annoying because if I'm speaking Farsi and I already know half of the words that look the same, Azim, Azim, sounds similar, suddenly I have to start thinking and putting a ta marbuta on the end, which is kind of annoying, but that's what you have to do. Okay? And similarly in English, I never have to think about the number or gender. Like the big tree or the big trees or the big house, the word big is the same. Whereas for most languages, not like that. The word big is going to change. Okay? So in Arabic, whenever you describe anything, you have to say, what gender is this word? And I have to make sure it has the same gender. Okay? And when I describe it, am I going to say the big house or the house big? In Arabic, I'm going to say the house big. Right? How do we say it in Farsi? Big house. Khana kalon, right? Not kalon khana, right? That doesn't make sense. That's like doesn't make sense. Now, so in English, right? We don't usually say that. But what makes more sense is that you mentioned the category house and then the subcategory small. That's how you do a search engine, right? That's how a computer would understand it. House, white. Not category of white things and then put a house there. That's not how we think as human beings or as a computer. You're going to put in pink house on Google. It's going to look up images of houses that it has in its system, and then subcategory, the ones that are pink. Not pink things, and a subcategory of pink things is a house. That doesn't make any sense. So in most languages, like Arabic, we say house big, etc., not big house. Okay, so everything that is the opposite. Okay, so I have to make sure it's the same gender, and I have to make sure it's going to be opposite. So I'm going to say this house big, as opposed, and make sure the big agrees. That's all the theory today. That's all the theory. Two genders. Is, am, are is implied. A is assumed, just like in many languages. We have the word huwa, which means it or he. We have the word hada and dhalika, and then we have, make sure the adjective comes last. Okay, Khalid, don't know what time we're going to stop to pray. 8 o'clock. Fantastic. Okay, so let's jump, inshallah, into our examples on the next page. I'm going to go on to the. So we have 15 sentences. So these 15 sentences, every week, we need to come away knowing these things, right? So if you have time to do homework, which we should, homework is very important. There's no obligation to do homework. We've made sure the class is 2 hours so that we finish the homework in the school, in the class. You go home and you got kids screaming your head off, and someone has to do homework, and someone has to do their assignment for tomorrow morning, and you have to finish this thing, whatever it is, that's fine. You come here, it's closed. But it's ideal to go home and do homework, right? So ideally, you should come home, come next week. I already know all of these words. These words on this 15 sentence letter, I know these words, right? So let's look at, I can't scroll up. Oh, here we go, I can see, you can just see here. So sentence number 1, let's pair this up, okay? So just take a moment, look at the example. It has in Arabic, huwa Qur'anun, and then in English it says, it is a Qur'an. Huwa Qur'anun, it is a Qur'an. Let's try with a pencil or in your mind, pair up the words. Where is the word it? Where is the word is? Where is the word a? And where is the word Qur'an in the Arabic? Okay? Fingers on the buzzers. Should I do a cheesy, what's it called? Like a little ding, 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 ding thing in the background to put some tension there? Right? I think given that we have men here, we should have a lot of competition, I think, right? Okay, so fingers on the buzzers. Who can pair up the words? Where is the word? Where is the word it? Where is the word is? Where is the word a? And where is the word Quran? Okay, I need to hear a buzzers, some kind of. Okay, that was good. That was good. I see the competitive nature here. MashaAllah, it's coming out. MashaAllah. Hit $50. Yeah, great. So how do you know it doesn't mean he? We're talking about an object. You're talking about good. It's not a right. The Quran, right? That's implied. Good. Where's the word a? Is implied. A is implied, and Quran is Quran. Good. Good job. So for $100, let's do the next one. Okay, number 2. I can't quite scroll down. That's number 3. Qur'anun, because by default, all words end in a tanween, by default. Okay, so Qur'anun, that's the default how it's going to end. Okay, so I would ask the question, why did it end in Qur'anu? Not why did it end in Qur'anun? Because by default, all words are indefinite. They're a, and they're not the. So if I put the word the, it will be al-Qur'anu. Okay, but my name is not Farid. My name is Faridun. Right? So there's every single word in Arabic ends in something. Right? So I have a joke with my friend. His name's Rami. Okay? His name's Rami, which means archer. Like someone who shoots a bow, right? So I'm like, your name is not Rami. He's like, yeah, it is. I said, no, because if I referred to you, I'd say, Anta Ramin. Right? Anta Ramin. Well, that sounds like a Hindu name, isn't it? Right? It's like, I thought my name was Rami. He said, no, your name is Anta Ramin. If I saw him, I would say, Ra'itu Ramiyan. Right? If I walk past him, I say, Marartu bi Ramin. I walk past Ramin. And the only time I'd ever say Rami is when I'm talking to him. I would say Rami. That's when I'm talking to you, right? That's like saying, Ya Rami, oh Rami. Otherwise, it wouldn't be like that. Okay, so every single word ends in something like Latin, right? Is it curriculum? Is it curricula? Is it curricula this? In Latin is an ending. That's a grammatical ending, right? So it's going to change from place to place to place, right? Brutus, brute, bruto, depending on did you talk to him, were you talking about him, etc. Okay, so every single word in Arabic has an ending, and that's telling us about its position in the sentence. And by default, it has a tanween. So we'd ask the question, why is there no tanween, as opposed to why is there a tanween? Okay, but we'll learn that later on. Okay, the sentence number 2 I can't see on the board, but for $100, who's going to do that? So table A has learned $50 so far, right? The next question is a $100 question. Fingers on the buzzers. The second one, it should be, it's in your handout. Just the workbook? You just have the workbook there? Okay, it doesn't matter, we can just do the workbook. Okay, you can see over there then. Huwa Qur'anun Majidun. Who can add this up for $100? So this is how much, these are donations. Okay, yes, Bismillah. What's your name, brother? Saeed, mashallah. Saeed means? Happy, alhamdulillah. So you're not you have to smile the whole time. Yeah. Good. 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 Excellent. So notice, did it say glorious Quran or Quran glorious? Quran glorious. Right? That's how it's the other way around. It's what's opposite to English at least. Okay. MashaAllah. $100. Good job. Okay. Good. Number 3. Yeah, I can see 3 now. Here we go. Innahu laqur'anun kareemun. $200. Fingers on the buzzers. Who can add the words up for us? Innahu laqur'anun kareemun. Bismillah. This table is going to get $300 now, guys. You're losing $50. Nothing here on this table. Alhamdulillah. Catch up, inshallah. Good. Good. So what do you think who means? We haven't seen that yet, but what do you think it means? Who, good. It's a short form of huwa. Okay? Huwa is a short form of huwa. So who means it. Okay? So you've got it. Where's the is? No is, it's implied. A. Good. Noble, good. So notice it says Quran noble as opposed to noble Quran. Now, Kareem is a very interesting word in Arabic. Okay, it's a very interesting word. It's to do with generosity and nobility. They're the same thing. So this is a concept in Arab culture that privilege means responsibility. They're the same concept. You are noble, therefore you feed the poor. So the mushrikeen, they had this concept. They would vie over who has the honor of feeding the Hujjaj, who has the honor of giving water to the Hujjaj. Just like very much we find in many Muslim cultures, right? Who's going to invite you? Like somebody doesn't accept your invitation. Do you say, Alhamdulillah, you saved me money? Or do you say you have insulted me? Because it's an honor to give, right? Somebody comes up to you, you're with your wife and says, hey, don't worry, I'll pay for your coffee. You're like, excuse me, right? Like, that's not what you like. I will pay for her coffee. You don't come up to me and my wife and say, yeah, brother, I'll pay for your coffee. Excuse me. That's an honor that I am the husband and I'll pay for her coffee. It's like, oh, I heard your kids couldn't get into the school. I'll pay for them. It's like, we'll do it. Thank you very much. That's an honor. That's your izzat nafs, right? That you're, I need Allah. I don't need you, right? So this is a concept in Jahili culture and in Islam that generosity and nobility are the same thing. You are noble, therefore you spend. As opposed to, you're noble, therefore you don't have to spend. So that's one concept. The noble person, the person who risks their life for other people, and he spends their money for other people, and he feeds. Right? It's one concept. Good. So in Arabic is one of the languages is very, very easy to analyze the the psycholinguistics of it. Like, right, psycholinguistics, like how is this person feeling based on their language, right? So in Arabic, if I want to tell you a fact and you have no background on it, I'm going to say, for example, what's in my hand? You're like, I don't know, what's in your hand? I say air. You're like, okay. That's not remarkable. So there's no point of contention, there's no context. So I would say, for example, I say, what is this? You're like, I don't know what it is. You're like, oh, it's a noble Quran. I say, okay. I would say, huwa Quranun Karimun. You're like, okay, big deal. I didn't know about it, and now you told me. If you doubt me, I use the word inna. So I say, inna hadha lahati. I say, inna hadha hatifun. And you're like, really? So yeah, it is. Right? So when you say inna, that means like this is, right? You're like, oh, so you're half, you say, Farid, you're half Swiss. So yeah, I am half Swiss. Like, really? You don't look half Swiss. No, I am half Swiss. Like, oh, okay. Like, it sounds surprising. You're kind of doubting it. So you use the word inna. Okay? So whenever the person using inna, they're trying to emphasize it and get the point across because they know that the other person is doubting what's kind of surprising. Now, if the person does not believe them, you use innahu la. Right? You say inna hadha lahatifun. Like, you would not believe this. You've just came from the past 100 years ago. I say, by the way, phones used to look like this. You used to go like that with a phone, and it used to be connected to the wall. But you're like, so this is a phone. Like, that's not a phone. That looks like a book or looks like a wallet. So, la, inna hada lahatifun, which means this is, despite the fact that you don't believe me, this is actually something. So that's what inna la means. It means I'm telling you that it is the case, even though you're denying it. Okay? So that's inna la. So inna, so normal sentence, huwa zaydun. He is Zayd. Innahu Zaydun. He is Zayd, even though you're doubting it. Innahu Zaydun means you don't believe it, but it is actually the case, even if you don't believe it. Okay? So that's what's being said here. Innahu la Qur'anun Kareem. And this is actually a noble recital or noble Quran, even though you don't believe it. Okay?
But if you say la means no, right?
That's la. Yeah, that's a problem. Right? That's Allah versus la versus la. So you have to be very careful. Innal insana la fi khusr. That means, man, you're not in loss. You're doing fine. Innal insana la fi khusr. You have to be very careful. Right? Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah as opposed to, right? Right? So you have to be very careful with la and la. Okay? It needs something. Like I say, anta, innaka la anta Yusuf. Are you really Yusuf? Right, in Surah Yusuf, like, that's impossible. Yusuf died ages ago. We threw him in a well ages ago. You're not Yusuf, are you? That's how they're saying it. And you can see it through the language. The language it's almost like a script. It's almost like Hollywood script is already there, put into these words. How exactly is that person going to say it? Right? So it's a very, very clear language. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used Arabic language. It's very, very clear what's going on. Okay, so it has to have some kind of thing there. Okay, so sentence number, Khalid Jan, this is till the Iqama? Yes. Okay, so maybe we can just, okay, khair. So then sentence number 4. Somebody on this table. Good. Okay.
Yeah. Haza, this, and is implicit.
Hadha.
Haza.
The. Yeah.
Haza.
Hadha is this, and dhikr is, here is described as a reminder.
Reminder.
So it can be remembrance, it can be reminder, and it can also be renown. وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ. We made your fame very high. Renown, right? So the Prophet was asked about somebody doing jihad, fighting jihad, لِذِكْر, in order to be well known. I want to be famous for fighting in jihad. That's called riyat, that's called showing off, right? You don't fight for that reason, okay? So dhikr can mean a reminder, and it can mean remembering, and it can also mean renown, as in fame, right? Good. هذا ذكر. This is a reminder. Good. Number 5. Somebody on this table? Bismillah.
So هذا, this is implied. Dhikrun is reminder. Mubarak is blessed. So
Is blessed.
blessed, yeah.
Yes. What's the difference between blessed and blessed? One's an adjective and one's a
Noun.
verb.
Oh,
The priest blessed the child, but this is a blessed child. Okay. I'm English, so very pedantic. Okay. Alhamdulillah. Okay. So هذا ذكر مبارك. Very good. Excellent. Notice the order. Does it say blessed reminder or a blessed reminder? Does it say reminder blessed or does it say a blessed reminder? Reminder blessed. Is that normal in Arabic? That's how you speak Arabic. Okay, great. Excellent. Number 6. Brother Habib. So this is a very strange sentence. Mm-hmm. Good. So good.
And illa means except.
Good. So it's very, very strange. It says, not this except human being. Now, what does that mean? Now, do you think a computer would understand that? If I say, for example, it cannot be this, but except this. Right? A computer would understand that. Say, don't put this list except this member of that list. Right? That's very strange computer programming. You could do that, right? Say, look at this list. Don't put anything in that list except this word. Like you could do that, right? In a program, right? That's a bit strange. That's how you speak Arabic. So notice when we do the Shahada, we say, not God except God. Like what? La ilaha illallah. It sounds strange. Like, no God except God. That means only God is God. Only Allah is God, right? So in Arabic, by default, you say only. There's no word for only. You say not except. So you say, for example, I only saw Tim. Not saw I except Tim. That's how you normally speak in Arabic, right? I would only like a soda. Not I want except a soda. That's how you speak, right? So this not except a bashar, except a human being. And then we'll just mention just one thing here. There's different words for human being in Arabic. You can say insan, or you can say bashar, or you can say, I don't know, some other word, I guess, rajul, man or something. Bashar means the naked animal, the animal that has no fur and no scales. So it's used in a very physical and pathetic way, right? This is no naked animal, because the word bashar is your skin. So we refer to human being as the skin. So bashariya is like the mortal humanness of it, like the petty weakness of it. So they're talking about Sayyidina Yusuf, and they're like, this is not a human being. This is not some kind of like creature with no fur and scales that we know people are like. This is something else. This must be an angel or something, because he can't look like that. So it's very important in Arabic. Basically, as we'll learn in Arabic, every single word has 3 root letters, and you can connect everything together, right? So Sayyid and Sada. Sada means to lead. Sayyid is the leader, the thing. Whatever, Sultan, authority. Farid means unique, right? Furada, the unique person. Tafreed, to do something by yourself. So here, Bashar, you say, for example, a bisharat, bishara, which means a good news, because your face, the skin of your face shines. So it's all to do with the skin. Bashara to do with the skin, right? So this is this is not some creature with skin. This must be something else. Yes.
Ma here, does it mean what?
It means not. So ma is a very interesting, I don't want to say the word annoying out of respect, but it's a very interesting word. It has about 40 different uses in Arabic. Ma.
The way I read is something like ma hadha means
What is this? Yeah.
except a human being.
Yeah.
That's how to me.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean what is this except a human being. This means not this, right? And so, for example, when the seerah, when the Prophet is called, when the Sayyidina Jibreel comes to the Prophet and he says read, he says ma ana biqari. What does that mean? Does it mean what should I read, or does it mean I'm not a reader? Right? It's slightly confusing. So ma can be confusing sometimes. Does it mean what, or does it mean what, or does it mean that which, or does it mean not? It's confusing. So ma is used a lot in the Quran. It comes up so many times. You're going to see it again, 40 different uses in Arabic grammar of the word ma, right? So for now, just remember it could mean what, it could mean not, and it could mean that which, right? What and that which are pretty similar, right? But ma is not the same, right? So I say, so ma akal could mean that which he ate, or it could mean he didn't eat. Which is like, what? That's confusing, right? But it gets easy, inshallah. We have to stop to pray, inshallah ta'ala. So we'll come back after the commercial break, inshallah ta'ala, please.
So one more thing, like, why it is not la there actually if it is not?
Good. That's somewhat of an advanced question, and inshallah ta'ala, we'll answer it. We'll try and answer it after, inshallah. Alhamdulillah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. So, Bismillah, let's continue from where we left off. So we had ma hadha illa bashar. So what's interesting there, we had not this except human being. That's a strange structure, but we're going to see that again and again. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. And not sent you except mercy to the worlds. We only sent you as a mercy to the worlds. That's how you say Arabic in Arabic. Similarly, number 7, in huwa illa abdun. Not. So in also means not. Huwa means. What does huwa mean? What's your name again? Wali. What does it mean? He or it. So not he or it. Illa. Except. Abdun. Slave. Notice to translate it as servant. Is there a difference between a servant and a slave? Big difference, right? Your servant, you pay them, right? A masdur, right? You pay them, right? Do you own your masdur? Right? So you are more powerful than he is. You have more money, and he needs to work for you because you have more money. But you don't own him. Do you pay his bills? You might help him, but you don't pay his bills. You pay him a salary, right? A servant, you pay a salary. A slave, you do not pay a salary. And a slave, you have to support. So when you say, I'm a slave of Allah, it's different to a servant of Allah. Slave of Allah, Allah owns me. He does not pay me a salary, but he buys my food and looks after me. And when he chooses, he takes my life away. There's a big difference. You say I'm a slave of Allah. That means I'm not responsible to pay for anything. Right? The brother, for example, had to leave for work. Why do we work? We don't work because you have to pay for anything. You have to work because Allah wants you to work. That's your ibadah. He wants you to get up early in the morning and go to work and do these things. Not that he needs you to make the money. You're not responsible for that, for doing those things. Allah is responsible for feeding you and giving you protection and whatever. And when he wants, he'll take your life away. Right? That's a slave. You're not responsible for anything. Right? As opposed to a servant. So that's an example. We said, hang on a minute, I want to know Arabic so that I don't have to deal with your translation. I want to know the words. Slave is different. Okay? Huwa mu'min? Brother Saeed? Huwa mu'min. This is number 8. Huwa mu'min. Go ahead, Habib, yeah. Yeah, but so in and ma, what is the difference? One is less common. What is the difference? I will research it, inshallah. So what the brother answered about la and ma, that's more common. That's quite an easy difference. But in and ma, in is not very common to use it for negation, so it must have a different meaning. I'll research it, inshallah. Okay, huwa mu'min means somebody who hasn't answered yet. Yes. Sorry, Saeed, can you just close the door for me? So huwa means?
Huwa means he, and mu'min is a believer.
Good. Means believer. Good. So he, believer, he is a believer. Huwa ilahun wahidun.
God, wahid, one.
One. So he, God, one. He is one God. Excellent. Hada siratun. So this is like the word I asked before, like the word yek nafar, right? If you just said nafar, that means one person. But yek nafar, one person, like specifically one, right? So the same thing, wahid, ilah means one God. But what I'm trying to say is one and not two. I say ilahun wahidun. Okay? Okay, hada siratun. Somebody else? Where's our... Huwa means it or he? Yeah. So our most eligible bachelor at the back, please. Where's the brother? Habib. Inshallah, after 40 lessons, inshallah, we'll have your wedding. Have you had any weddings here yet, Khalijan? Alhamdulillah. Okay, the next one is Fahri, and then next one is Habib. Inshallah. Say Ameen. Ameen. Inshallah.
Hada is this, and Siratan is way.
Way. Good. Hada siratun. This is a way. Good. So where's the word is and a? It's implied. Easy. Hada siratun mustaqimun. Somebody else? Straight. Okay. Good. And then number 12. Straight, mustaqim, straight. That's about it. But interesting, in English, straight and strict, are they related? Very much. So you want to go, if you want a straight direction from A to B, but you don't want to be strict, you're not going to get there. They're the same thing, right? Even the word we talk about straight as in someone's not what we mean, right? Somebody's straight, so someone that are this and that, okay? So straight path and a strict path are the same. You don't want to be strict in your religion, because why would I have to be strict? Then you're not going to get to your goal. It's an important concept in English, but it's mustaqim is from the word qa'im, which is standing, right? It is standing. It's like standing up straight. So mustaqim, it means straight. That's what it means. Vertical, yeah. Okay, and number 12. Hada yawmun.
Hada is this.
Mhm.
And yawmun, day.
Day. Hada yawmun, this is a day. Good, number 13. Can I go down? There we go. Number 13. ذلك الكتاب.
ذلك يوم.
ذلك يوم. Sorry, I skipped number 13. ذلك يوم.
Yeah, ذلك يوم.
So what's the difference between ذلك and هذا?
ذلك that.
ذلك, هذا means this, and ذلك means
that.
That. Okay.
So ذلك means that, and is and are implicit, and يوم means day.
Good. And so, and ذلك الكتاب. Anybody else?
I guess. That is a book.
That is. So is it a book or the book? The book. Where's the word the? Al. We haven't seen that yet. So he's just thrown that in there, right? That is the book. Okay. ذلك الكتاب. So where's the word is?
It's understood.
Right? It's understood. Where is the word the? Al. So a is implied, the is not, because the default is a word is indefinite. So you don't have to say a. Okay, so ذلك الكتاب. So what does that actually mean though when you say ذلك الكتاب ولا ريب فيه? It means that amazing distinguished thing over there that is so high up, even though you're reading it, it's far away and high up. So say that very distinguished, amazing thing over there is the be-all and end-all of books. That's what it means, right? They say he the bomb, right? You know that phrase, he the bomb, right? What does it mean? He means he is, not only he's amazing, he's like exploding amazing. He's not a bomb, he is the bomb. Like that is the best person you could ever imagine. Like that is the car, like the car of 25, as if no other car exists, right? So that's what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, is that this thing here that is so amazing that it's almost far away, it's almost far away from you, is something distinguished and amazing, and it has all the characteristics of a guide and a book that you want, right? So it takes on, yes, go ahead.
So Al-Kitab does it mean only Quran, or it could be any?
It means the Quran, yeah. It means the Quran, yeah.
So if you have to say like,
No, Al-Kitab. So interestingly, Al-Kitab means two things in Arabic. So Al-Kitab, it means, if you said Al-Kitab, it means the Quran. It means the book. And it also means the Masnawi of Jalaluddin al-Rumi. They say it was called Al-Kitab, right? Because it's such an amazing, it's like if you learn Farsi for one reason, right? My friend, he read that Masnawi of Jalaluddin Rumi 5 times in Turkish. So I don't know Farsi, but I read it in, it's like this, he said I read it 5 times. If you learn Farsi just for the Masnawi of Jalaluddin Rumi, that would be enough, right? It's called Al-Kitab, right? So when you say Al-Kitab, it's also Al-Kitab of Sibawayh. You say the book, that's a famous book by Sibawayh in grammar, right? Who's also Farsi Zaban speaking, right? Okay. That is the book. ذلك الكتاب. That is the book, as opposed to that is a book. Yeah. Okay, and number 10. Number 15, it says, fa, which means good. So it says, so patience is beautiful. Is this a correct translation? It's actually not. It actually says, so a beautiful patience. That's not a sentence. It's actually an incomplete sentence. So we are learning already the importance of learning a language so that you understand what it's saying, right? So it's not really patience is beautiful, because how would you say patience in Arabic? You say fasabru as-sabru, the patience, you would say in Arabic, okay? But that's a bit advanced, but don't worry about that. So let's summarize things. We know the word huwa, we know the word hada, we know the word dhalika, we know that is implied, and we know that words by default are masculine, right? So we go home and say, I'm the asl, right? Which is true biologically, right? XY versus XX, right? So sorry, YouTube. And what? And saying that our grandmother Hawa was created from Sayyidina Adam, right? But in Arabic, the default is masculine and the default is indefinite. Right? Everything's going to come afterwards. Okay, so we didn't have a chance, unfortunately, to finish the workbook. Please take it home and finish it if you can. If you can't, there's no issues. The wajib that we have is be here. That's all. If you go home and say I couldn't do it, that's fine. Your wajib is 6:30 to 8:30. That's what you have to be here, right? So inshallah, 40 classes. We'll be here. We'll do this, and inshallah ta'ala, we'll get this done. Inshallah ta'ala. So I think everybody did pretty well today. It was quite easy, right? Pretty easy, right? So therefore, that's not a good sign. That means we can do it. Therefore, we have to do it. As opposed to I went to the first class, it was ridiculous, right? Like I wanted to learn Italian. My mom said, it's easy. Just learn these 12 verb tables. It's easy. I'm like, great, forget it. Not going to bother. Okay? But it's because it's easy, that means we have to do it. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us 50 prayers, then 40 prayers, then 30 prayers, then 20 prayers, and then 10 prayers, and then 5. And said, that's it, 5. You can do it. Therefore, you have to do it. Right? So something that you can do, you have to do it. Right? You had a question, brother? Yes, so we were trying to actually, inshallah, I'm in contact with inshallah, to speak to Brother Khalid, inshallah, about the textbook, inshallah. So
oh, it's okay.
Yeah, but yeah.
So is it available on Amazon or any other?
It's the book is available with certain online things, but we're trying to just do a one bulk thing, because if everybody orders often in the past, I find that people order from different places, and it can take for ages.
Yeah.
So there's one particular organization I'm in contact with, and inshallah, so we'll get that soon. Okay. Yes. And so the textbooks are very important, because why? The pact that we have is I might not make it home alive today. Right? Byron is these windy roads. I might die today. But does that mean we stop? And maybe this place is closed down tomorrow. Oh, khalas, he died. The teacher died. Right? One less white people, one less white man, the earth will be a better place, right? Inshallah. Maybe this place isn't here, but the pact is that we came here, we all know why we're doing this. And we have to finish this book. Right? We have to finish it. Whether I'm alive, whether you're alive, whether this is the place, we have to get the textbook. We have to finish this book, because we can do it, inshallah, and we will. Ya Rab, right? Jazakum khair. May Allah reward you all, and Jazakum khair, Brother Khalid, for his efforts in organizing this thing. Inshallah ta'ala, we'll see everybody next week. Inshallah ta'ala, Jazakum khair. Subhanallah wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant. Nastaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. For those who wish to, please, you got the PDF, make a list of all the words, memorize it, but that's sunnah. The fard is that you have to be here, inshallah. Jazakum khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I don't know, we didn't talk about this in the beginning. What's the expectation from your point of view and the student in the class can expect when he's done with these 40 classes? Yeah, at the end of the course, where do
you should pick up any page in the Mus'haf, and you know 90% of what's going on, and you have the skills to do everything. And from there, you can now walk your way through any book. Okay. You can't run through any book, but you can walk your way through any book. I give you any book, any classical book without tashkil. You're like, yeah, I can do this. Here's a book. I know how to use a dictionary. One of the last lessons is how to use a dictionary. The whole science of how an Arabic dictionary works. So my friend, for example, he did a book like this. He got Ihya al-Ulumuddin by Imam Ghazali, 12 volumes. Just the whole book by himself. It can be done, as opposed to so it's not easy. But you can do it. You do a fiqh book in Arabic, a hadith book in Arabic. You can actually do it. Particularly with the Quran, you should know 80 to 90% of the Quran.
that's right. And he also mentioned about the workbook. So
the workbook we will do in class. We were just